Hello aspirants, welcome back to Daily Current Affairs Analysis by Civics Center IAS, where we break down the most relevant and high impact topics from the UPSC CSE Prelims perspective by using the reverse engineering technique, which is the core approach of Civics Center IAS, where we analyze the previous year questions to identify the trends and predict the potential areas of focus. But before starting the session, Civic Center IAS expresses deep condolences for the tragic New Delhi railway stampede, and we also urge UPSC Group 2 mains aspirants who are travelling for the exam to stay cautious, plan your journey in advance and avoid the last minute rush. Your safety is important, so please travel carefully. Now let's begin the session. Displayed below are the key topics which we'll be covering today. So, the first article is that with a significant political development in Manipur, where on February 13, just 4 days after the Chief Minister N. Biren Singh resigned, the Union government imposed President's rule in the violence-hit state. Now, for the prelims context, let's see the topic of President's rule. But before that, it becomes essential to understand the emergency provisions enshrined in the Indian Constitution, particularly the President's rule under the Article 356. Now first, see, the emergency provisions outlined in Part 18 of the Constitution are inspired by the German Constitution and acts as a safeguard to protect India's sovereignty, unity and security. These provisions empower the central government to assume the temporary control in times of extraordinary crisis, ensuring that governance remains stable and uninterrupted. And also, the Constitution provides for the 3 types of emergencies to deal with the exceptional situations. The first is a national emergency, which comes under the Article 352, which is declared in cases of war, external aggression or armed rebellion where the nation's security is under threat, allowing the central government to assume the sweeping powers. And the second is a state emergency, where it comes under the Article 356, which is also known as the President's rule, which is imposed when the constitutional machinery of a state breaks down. And the third is a financial emergency, which comes under the Article 360, which is declared when India's financial stability is threatened, allowing the central government to take the control of financial matters to prevent the economic collapse. And now, let's briefly discuss about the President's rule under Article 356, which is also known as the state emergency or the constitutional emergency, allowing the central government to take direct control of a state's governance in case of the constitutional breakdown in that state. Now, the legal framework for the President's rule is laid down in Articles 355 to 357, which comes under the Part 18, and also the Article 365, which comes under Part 19. And this authorizes the President to intervene when a state is unable to function as per the Constitution. And the imposition of President's rule can occur under 2 key conditions. Firstly, a breakdown of constitutional machinery, that is under Article 356, and it happens when the governor reports to the President that the state government cannot function as per the Constitution, leading President to take the control. Secondly, the failure to follow union directions, that comes under Article 365, which occurs when a state government refuses to comply with the union government directives, making it necessary to impose President's rule. And there are several political and administrative situations that can lead to the President's rule. One such scenario is when a state legislature fails to elect a chief minister within the prescribed time frame, making governance impossible. Similarly, the collapse of a coalition government resulting in the loss of majority support in the legislature can create political instability that requires central intervention. Additionally, a no-conference motion leading to the fall of the government can escalate the instability, making it necessary to dissolve the administration. And moreover, the delayed elections due to the natural disasters, epidemics or war can create an administrative vacuum which may justify the imposing President's rule to maintain the law and order. And now, once the President's rule is imposed, it must undergo a formal approval process to maintain the constitutional validity, where the proclamation must be approved by both the Houses of Parliament within 2 months, while an exception exists in case of Lok Sabha's dissolution. If the Lok Sabha is dissolved, the proclamation remains valid for 30 days after the first session of the newly elected Lok Sabha, provided that the Rajya Sabha has already given its approval. In terms of duration, the President's rule is initially imposed for 6 months, but it can be extended up to 3 years with the parliamentary approval required every 6 months. Additionally, the President holds the authority to revoke the President's rule at any time, making it a flexible tool to restore the governance when the normalcy returns. And now, if you see the impact of President's rule across the executive, legislative and judiciary structures, see, when it is imposed, the governor assumes executive responsibilities acting as the representative of the President of India. And at the same time, the state legislature is either suspended or dissolved, and its legislative functions are transferred to the parliament, enabling union government control over state affairs. However, the judiciary remains unaffected as the state high court continues to function independently. Since the state legislature is dissolved or suspended, its responsibilities shift to the parliament, which enacts the state's budget and passes bills to ensure continued governance. Additionally, when parliament is not in session, the president can issue ordinances to address the urgent governance matters. And now, as a value addition, let us compare the national emergency under Article 352 and the state emergency under Article 356. See, there are clear distinctions. First, national emergency is declared due to war, external aggression or armed rebellion, while the state emergency arises from the breakdown of the constitutional machinery in a state. Further, the approval mechanism also differs as the national emergency requires a special majority in the parliament, whereas President's rule can be imposed with a simple majority approval. Additionally, while a national emergency has no time limit, President's rule has a maximum duration of 3 years, requiring the parliamentary approval every 6 months. And the other key difference lies in their impact on the state governance. See, under a national emergency, the state government continues to function, whereas under this state emergency, the executive is dismissed and the legislature is either dissolved or suspended. Furthermore, a national emergency can restrict fundamental rights, particularly Article 19, whereas the President's rule has no direct impact on the fundamental rights. Now, thus, President's rule serves as a constitutional safeguard to ensure the state governance. It does not collapse due to the political instability or administrative failures. However, its imposition must be justified, aligned with the constitutional principles, and be subject to the judicial review to prevent the misuse. Now, moving to the next article, it is that the green bonds help governments raise capital for the clean energy and infrastructure. But India issues have struggled to secure lower borrowing costs typically associated with such bonds. In this context, let's know about the green bonds and the challenges associated with it. Know that green bonds are debt instruments issued by the governments, corporations, and also the multilateral banks to raise capital for clean energy and infrastructure projects. These bonds typically offer lower yields than the conventional bonds, which helps in reducing the borrowing cost for the issuers. And also, investors favor green bonds as they provide stable long-term returns and align with the sustainable investment mandates. Further, the World Bank issued the first green bond in the year 2008, leading to the rapid market expansion. Now, if we see the India and its sovereign green bonds, know that India launched its sovereign green bonds in the year 2022, aligning with its Panchamrit pledges at COP26. And if we see the governance and oversight of these bonds, they are handled by the Green Finance Working Committee, which approves the major decisions on issuance. And additionally, India's green bond framework was independently evaluated by Cicerio, which is a Norway-based company, and received a medium green rating. Further, the eligible projects include renewable energy like the solar, wind, biomass, hydro, and also the sustainable transportation like metro rail, electric locomotives, and green buildings, pollution control, afforestation, biodiversity conservation, and also the climate resilience initiatives. However, there are certain projects that are excluded, such as fossil fuel-based projects, nuclear power generation, and also the direct waste incineration to ensure adherence to the environmental objectives. But despite its potential, India's green bonds market faces weak demand due to multiple reasons. Firstly, the low cost advantage that discourages the investors. While the global greeniums range between 7 to 8 basis points, India's greenium is only 2 to 3 basis points, making green bonds less attractive compared to the conventional bonds. Secondly, the liquidity issues which arises due to small issue sizes which restrict secondary market trading as investors prefer to hold these bonds until maturity, further reducing the market liquidity. And thirdly, India lacks strong institutional demand as the social impact funds and responsible investing mandates that drive green bond demand globally, which are not well established in India. Finally, the foreign investor participation, which remains limited even after eased investment rules, as auctions often see low participation, forcing bonds to devolve to the primary dealers. Now, moving to the next article. The Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, while presenting the Union Budget on February 1, announced the launch of Prime Minister Dhan-Dhaanya Krishi Yojana. Now, in this context, let's talk about the Prime Minister Dhan-Dhaanya Krishi Yojana. Know that the scheme, which is inspired by the Aspirational Districts program, will be implemented in partnership with the states and overseen by the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare to enhance agriculture development in the targeted areas. And also, the scheme aims to enhance agriculture productivity, promote crop diversification, and expand the post-harvest storage, strengthen irrigation infrastructure, and also improve the credit access in 100 low productivity districts. Furthermore, the scheme supports 1.7 crore farmers by enhancing productivity, promoting sustainable farming, developing post-harvest storage at panchayat and block levels, improving irrigation infrastructure, and also facilitating both long-term and short-term farm credit. Now, let's see the criteria on how these districts are selected. See, the criteria which the 100 districts are selected, and it includes such as low agriculture productivity, moderate cropping intensity, and below average credit access. Now, what is meant by this cropping intensity? Know that it is the percentage of gross cropped area to the net sown area, which serves as a key indicator of the agriculture efficiency. So over the time, India's cropping intensity has improved from 111% in the year 1950-51 to 155% in the year 2021-2022, reflecting agriculture progress and also the better land utilization. Now, moving to the next article, it says that Adi Mahotsav 2025, the flagship initiative of the Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation of India Limited, that is in short the TRIFED, under the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, was inaugurated today by the Honorable President of India, Srimati Draupadi Murmu, at Major Dhyan National Stadium, New Delhi. Organized from February 16 to 24, 2025, this vibrant festival celebrates India's rich tribal heritage, cultural, art, crafts, cuisine, and commerce. Now, well, in this context, let's talk about the TRIFED and also look at the key developments. See, TRIFED, which was established in the year 1987, operates under the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act 1984. Now, it comes under 2002 Act and functions under the Ministry of Tribal Affairs with its head office in New Delhi. Its primary role is to develop and market tribal handicrafts and the natural products while ensuring fair trade practices. And further, the key objectives of TRIFED include enhancing the socio-economic welfare of the tribal community, facilitating and supporting tribal producers in improving the production, and providing training to enhance artistic skills with modern technology for global markets. Additionally, it also aims to promote the tribal arts and crafts for a stable livelihood while also monitoring and evaluating the tribal development programs. And further, this TRIFED operates under the brand name Tribes India, which has become a symbol of tribal entrepreneurship and also the cultural promotion. Now, furthermore, this Adi Mahotsav showcases India's rich tribal performing arts featuring iconic dance forms from different regions such as Chow dance from Jharkhand, Kalbelia dance from Rajasthan, Gaur Maria dance from Chhattisgarh, and also the Siddhi Dhamal dance from Gujarat, and lastly, it is like Angegar dance from Rajasthan. And these performances highlight the cultural diversity and artistic excellence of India's tribal communities, bringing their traditions to a wider national audience. Further, in addition to promoting tribal heritage, the government has launched several schemes aimed at empowering the tribal communities, including the Pradhan Mantri Janjati Adivasi Nyaya Mahabhiyan, in short the PM Janman, And this mission-driven initiative focuses on supporting 75 particularly vulnerable tribal groups across 18 states and 1 union territory. And the scheme, which consists of central sector and centrally sponsored schemes, is implemented by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs in collaboration with the state governments and also the PVTG communities. Further, its primary objective is to ensure doorstep delivery of essential services to particularly vulnerable tribal groups, thereby addressing the critical socio-economic challenges. Now, who are these PVTGs? See, they're considered the most vulnerable among the tribal communities, and the Government of India identifies them based on specific criteria. These include a pre-agriculture level of technology, low literacy levels, economic backwardness, and also declining or the stagnant population. And using these parameters, till now, 75 PVTGs have been identified across the country, requiring targeted interventions to uplift their standard of living. Further strengthening the tribal development, the government launched the Dharti Aba Janjati Gram Utkarsh Abhiyan on October 2nd of 2024 with a strong focus on infrastructure and welfare. And the key areas of focus include connecting 63,000 tribal villages to roads and mobile networks, providing permanent housing for the tribal families, ensuring that tribal citizens fully benefit from the government welfare schemes. Now, moving to the next article is that in an effort to enhance wildlife monitoring, AI-enabled cameras have been installed in the Similipal Tiger Reserve, where they strategically placed in the thick vegetation. And these devices detect movements, capture images, and also use built-in chips to classify objects into categories such as animals, humans, and vehicles. And if deemed necessary, the camera can transmit the image to an end user within 40 seconds, ensuring real-time surveillance and the rapid response to the potential threats. Now, in this context, let's know about the Similipal Tiger Reserve, which is mentioned in the article. Know that it is located in the Mayurbanj district of Odisha, which is one of the India's largest contiguous forest regions and holds the immense ecological significance. See, it falls within the Deccan Peninsular Zone, specifically within the Chota Nagpur province and also the Mahanadian region, which makes it a biodiversity hotspot. Recognizing its importance, the reserve was included in the Global Network of Biosphere Reserves in the year 2009, further highlighting its international conservation value. Now, if you look at the geographical and ecological features of Similipal, they're highly diverse as the region exhibits wide variations in the altitude, climate and topography, making it deal for a rich variety of flora and fauna. Additionally, it is nourished by the numerous perennial streams and rivers, including the Kairai and Dio, which sustain the ecosystem. And also, the forest cover is predominantly moist mixed deciduous, but the reserve also hosts the tropical semi-evergreen forest, patches of dry deciduous forest, and also the grasslands, contributing to its high ecological diversity. Further, Similipal is particularly significant for its wildlife as it hosts the highest tiger population in Odisha and is home to only known population of melanistic tigers in the world. Most importantly, the reserve contains the largest elephant population in Odisha, making it crucial for the elephant conservation efforts. And now, if we talk about the melanistic tigers of Similipal, they're especially notable due to their unique genetic characteristics. And these tigers exhibit broader, merged black stripes on a yellow tawny background, giving them a distinct appearance that is exclusive to Similipal. As Asia's second largest biosphere reserve, Similipal provides an ideal habitat for these rare tigers, allowing their population to persist despite their genetic isolation. And also, scientific studies have revealed that the melanism in Similipal tigers is caused by a mutation in the TACPUB gene that is leading to the pseudomelanism. And this condition is the result of inbreeding and genetic drift, as the tiger population in Similipal remains largely isolated from the other tiger populations in India. And further, the research conducted by the National Center for Biological Sciences in Bengaluru confirmed that this unique mutation is not found in any other tiger populations across the country, making Similipal's tigers an important subject of genetic and conservation studies. Thus, with the introduction of AI-enabled cameras and ongoing scientific research, conservation efforts in Similipal Tiger Reserve continue to evolve, ensuring better protection for its unique wildlife while also offering valuable insights into the genetic traits of its rare tiger populations. Now, moving to the next article, it is that global warming is the result of certain greenhouse gases, but especially the carbon dioxide building up in the air and preventing the planet from cooling as quickly as it would without them. Now, well, in this context, let's talk about the greenhouse effect, global warming, and also the carbon capture. Firstly, talking about the greenhouse effect, see, it refers to the mechanism by which certain gases trap heat in the Earth's atmosphere, causing the planet to be warmer than it otherwise would be. And the process begins when the energy from the sun is absorbed by the Earth, while some of it is reflected back into the space. But the remaining energy is then radiated back as the infrared radiation. But the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere absorb and re-radiate this higher radiation, thereby warming the atmosphere and the Earth's surface. And further, among the key greenhouse gases, water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, and ozone play significant roles in trapping the heat. However, CO2 is most impactful greenhouse gases due to human activities such as fossil fuel burning and also the deforestation, which have caused its levels to rise drastically. See, several human-induced factors contribute to the greenhouse effect, with the deforestation being a major issue as it reduces oxygen levels and limits the absorption of CO2 by plants. Additionally, the burning of fossil fuels releases large amounts of CO2 into the atmosphere, further intensifying the global warming. Moreover, the population growth increases the demand for resources, leading to the more deforestation and greater energy consumption, thereby worsening the greenhouse effect. Now, if we see the consequences of this greenhouse effect, they are visible in the global warming, which refers to the gradual increase in the Earth's surface temperature due to the accumulation of greenhouse gases. Now, if we see over the past century, Earth's temperature has already risen by 0.85 degrees centigrade, leading to severe environmental impacts, and these includes rising sea levels, retreating glaciers, and an increase in extreme weather events such as cyclones, droughts, and also the floods. Additionally, global warming poses threats to the food security, low-lying coastal regions, and fragile ecosystems, making climate action a priority. And in response to this, the scientific community has set a goal to limit global warming to 2 degrees centigrade above pre-industrial levels, as exceeding this threshold could lead to catastrophic environmental consequences. And to mitigate the effects of climate change, carbon capture sequestration has emerged as a promising solution. If we see the objective of this, the CCS, that is the carbon capture and sequestration, is to capture CO2 emissions from the heavy industries and store them safely, preventing them from entering the atmosphere and also contributing to the global warming. There are several CCS technologies used for carbon capture. The post-combustion capture method involves capturing CO2 from the exhaust gases of fossil fuel power plants, while the pre-combustion capture method removes the CO2 before burning fossil fuels, making it particularly useful in industries like the fertilizer manufacturing. And the other technique, known as oxy-fuel combustion, involves burning fuel in pure oxygen, which results in CO2-rich fuel gases, making it easier to capture and store CO2. Now, once captured, CO2 must be securely stored to prevent re-entry into the atmosphere, where geological storage involves injecting CO2 into deep underground formations such as brine formations, depleted oil fields, or natural gas fields, where it can be safely contained for thousands of years. Another method is that mineral storage, where it allows CO2 to react with minerals to form these stable carbonates, effectively locking away CO2 in the solid form. Additionally, the forest sequestration utilizes natural forest cover to absorb and store CO2, making afforestation and reforestation valuable strategies for the carbon mitigation. Thus, while the greenhouse effect is essential for sustaining life on Earth, human activities have intensified it, leading to global warming and severe environmental challenges. However, with the effective mitigation strategies such as CCS and sustainable land management, it is possible to reduce carbon emissions and minimize the impact of climate change in the long run. Now, moving to the next article, it says that Hamas said an Israel strike on Sunday killed 3 police officers near the southern Gaza city of Rafah a day after Israel and militants carried out a hostage prisoner swap. Now, well, in this context, let's talk about Israel, Hamas, and also about the Gaza city. Firstly, talking about the Israel, see, it is a Middle Eastern country established in the year 1948 as a Jewish state, and it is bordered by Lebanon to the north, Syria to the northeast, and Jordan to the east, and also the Egypt to the southwest and the Mediterranean Sea to the west. Now, its capital is Jerusalem, which remains internationally disputed, while the country is widely recognized for its advanced military capabilities, technological innovations, and strong economy. And further, on the other hand, Hamas, which is a Palestinian Sunni Islamic political and militant organization, has governed the Gaza Strip since the year 2007. And this group has been designated as a terrorist organization by Israel, United States, and the European Union, and also the several other countries. And further, Hamas engages in an armed resistance against the Israel, aiming to establish a Palestinian state, leading to the frequent excavations in the violence. Now, coming to the Gaza Strip, it is a coastal territory along the Mediterranean Sea, which is bordered by Israel to the north and east and Egypt to the southwest. And since 2007, Hamas has been administered Gaza, while Israel maintains a blockade controlling its borders and resources, further intensifying the territorial disputes. And the primary areas of conflict include the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and also the East Jerusalem, all of which are claimed by the Palestinians as part of their future state. And also, the Israel-Hamas conflict is characterized by the recurrent violence with the rocket attacks, air strikes, and ceasefires, often resulting in heavy civilian casualties on both the sides. And beyond the military clashes, Gaza faces severe humanitarian crisis as the blockade destructions from the conflicts and also the resource shortages have left its residents struggling with the limited access to the food, medical supplies, and basic services. And in an effort to de-escalate tensions, a ceasefire agreement was reached in January 2025, which was mediated by the international actors such as the USA and also the United Nations. And this agreement included a hostage exchange where the Hamas released the Israeli hostages and Israel freed the Palestinian prisoners. Additionally, it involved the withdrawal of Israeli troops from the Gaza and a commitment to the enhanced humanitarian aid for the Gaza's population. And further, the geopolitical impact of the conflict extends beyond the Israel and Palestine, affecting the regional stability in the Middle East and drawing involvement from the global powers including the USA, European Union, and also the Arab nations. While the ongoing situation continues to shape international relations and diplomatic efforts as various stakeholders push for long-term solutions to the Israeli-Palestine conflict. Now, let's see the last article of the day. It says that the exodus of FPIs from the Indian equity markets continues as they pulled out Rs 21,272 crore in the first 2 weeks of this month till February 14, driven by the global tensions after the US imposed tariffs on the imports. Now, in this context, let's discuss briefly about the foreign portfolio investment, in short the FPI. Know that it refers to the investments made by the foreign investors in a country's financial markets, typically in the form of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, exchange traded funds, American depository receipts, and also the global depository receipts. And further, the nature of this FPI involves foreign investors purchasing and also holding financial assets in a country outside their own, making it a key component of the nation's capital account, which is reflected in its balance of payments. And further, in India, remember that FPI is regulated by the Securities and Exchange Board of India, ensuring that investments comply with the financial regulations and market stability measures. And the term FPI broadly includes the foreign institutional investors and also the qualified foreign investors, both of which represent different types of foreign investors with varying investment strategies. And also, the several factors drive FPI flows into a country, with economic stability being a primary determinant, as investors prefer the stable and predictable economies with the minimal risk of financial crisis. Additionally, strong growth prospects, especially in emerging economies like India, attract FPIs due to their political for high returns on investment. And further, a favorable regulatory environment also plays a crucial role as countries with transparent policies and investor-friendly regulations tend to receive higher foreign investment. Furthermore, attractive returns such as high interest rates or robust equity market performances and the incentivize FPIs to invest in economies that offer profitability. And despite the benefits of FPI, it comes with these several risks that impact both investors and the host country. One major risk is the currency fluctuations, as depreciation of the local currency can reduce the value of foreign investors' returns when converted back to their home currency. Additionally, the political instability, including the changes in government policies, can make the financial markets volatile, discouraging the foreign investors. Moreover, the regulatory differences across the countries create compliance challenges, leading to the increased cost and also the investment risk. And further, the economic volatility is another significant risk, as sudden economic shocks, inflation, or financial crisis can significantly reduce the profitability of FPI investments. And also, FPI is often referred to as hot money, as it tends to move quickly in and out of the countries, responding to the short-term economic market or political developments, making it highly volatile and unpredictable. This is why FPI is often compared to the foreign direct investment, as both involve the foreign capital inflows, but they differ in their nature and impact. While FPI is more liquid and focused on short-term market movements, FDI involves long-term investments in companies or infrastructure projects within a country, providing more stable funding but potentially lower short-term returns. Consequently, FPI is considered riskier than FDI, as it can exit the host economy quickly at the first signs of the financial distress, leading to the market instability. Now, thus, while FPI plays a crucial role in providing liquidity to the financial markets, it remains highly sensitive to the global economic trends, regulatory policies, and also the political stability. Further, the recent withdrawals of FPIs from the Indian markets highlights the vulnerability of short-term foreign investments, emphasizing the need for the stronger economic policies and investor confidence measures to ensure long-term financial stability. That concludes today's daily current affairs analysis, and we'll be back tomorrow with the another video. Thank you.